Have oversight over religious organizations' finances. Yes, I've come back from leave with my wahala. Before my leave, we were talking about CAMA, the Corporate and Allied Matters Act. And that brings me to our big hard fact for today. The proposed Corporate and Allied Matters Act gives government the right to temporarily replace the trustees of charity organizations in the event of fraud. Now, when we first talked about this rule, a lot of Nigerians got very upset. Some pastors complained that this was a way for government to hijack the churches. Other Nigerians said, no, CAMA rule is necessary. It's necessary because anybody can commit fraud, even a church or a pastor. So government needs to have the ability to look into their finances and take action if there is a problem. A lot of you said, nope, this is very far-fetched. Now, while I was on leave, I saw a story and I said, Kai, why am I on leave right now? Why am I on leave right now? I would have shared this story with Lagos. So I decided, you know what? No matter what, you have to share this story with Lagos. No matter what, I must show you this story on my first week back. And so I am back. And I saw this particular report on the Vanguard. They published it on the 30th of September. And the headline reads, "We use pastors' bank accounts to beat security. Yahoo boy." I'll take that again. We use pastors' accounts to beat security. Yahoo boy. No be me talk am, no be Sandra Ezekwesili talk am. This is a report by the Vanguard newspaper. And the Vanguard conducted an investigative report into how Yahoo boys operate in Warri, and they managed to get access directly to these fraudsters. This is something that journalists do sometimes. These fraudsters broke down for the Vanguard the way they launder their money. You know, it's one thing to steal a large amount of money, but getting that money out of the system is another problem altogether, because banks will flag you. EFCC will flag you. So these criminals are always looking for the legal businesses or organizations with big streams of money so that they can pass their stolen money through them. And one of the fraudsters that the Vanguard spoke to said, quote, "We identify some rich pastors to use their accounts when we are expecting some good money. You know, security people will hardly suspect money that enters pastor's account," end quote. Let that sink in. So the criminals know that as a society, we don't scrutinize religious groups. And so they take advantage of that lack of scrutiny. You know, security people will hardly suspect money that enters pastors' accounts, end quote. Now, to be fair, according to the Vanguard, the fraudsters said some of the pastors declined, while some accepted. That's, of course, because the clergy is like every other profession. It has good people and bad people. Just yesterday, we talked about a pastor in Ondo State who was imprisoned for the disappearance of a child. Before I went on leave, we talked about a pastor on trial for rape. So if some pastors can be rapists, and some pastors can be kidnappers, and some pastors can be murderers, it's safe to assume that some pastors can be money launderers and fraudsters. The same way we have some imams who are running child trafficking rings and running child sex slavery rings. So I think it's safe to assume that some religious leaders can be money launderers and fraudsters. And if that's the case, if some pastors can use their church accounts to launder fraudulent money, shouldn't government be able to apply its normal anti-fraud and anti-money laundering processes to pastors and churches? That's my question for you today. That's why we're talking about CAMA again. Because that's what the CAMA amendment was talking about. The government wants the right to step in when a church's leadership is accused of financial crimes by its members. That's an important point. That church has to be accused of financial crimes by its members. And in that situation, government wants to be able to remove the church's trustees temporarily, not permanently. They're not removing the trustees permanently. They're removing them temporarily. Remove them, bring in independent administrators to look at the finances of the church or religious body. So having heard this Vanguard report about fraudsters working with pastors to hide stolen money in church accounts, what do you think about Kama giving government the right to oversee church finances under specific conditions? 0700-993-993 993 0700 993 993 993. You can also send your thoughts to me via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. Tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM. I'm curious to read your thoughts. Twitter is at Nigeria Info FM. And of course, we're streaming on Facebook, I think. I have some tech guys in the studio with me working. So maybe because they're with me working, we're not streaming. I don't know. But if we are, you can leave your thoughts with us on Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Mr. B is in Badagry today. Hello, Mr. B. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very well. Welcome to the show.
Okay. I want to be very constructive in my contribution.
Yes, please, go ahead.
I don't want to be, against any group of persons or against any organization or whatsoever.
That's great. Go ahead.
I think what I'm not comfortable about is, when we talk about pastors as if they are angels. We talk about pastors as if they are gods who created themselves.
Okay.
These are human beings like us. Okay? And so there is every possibility of them making mistake. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Okay,
good. So the issue is that you will agree with me that there are good pastors and there are bad pastors. It has nothing to do with their names.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the names of the organizations. But it has to do with their character as individual persons. Okay? So whatever law the government is going to put in place shouldn't be put in place because it's about church in quotes or about a man of God in quotes. No, it shouldn't be. It should be that these people, whether you are a pastor, you are a businessman, you are a politician, you are a Nigerian, and if you are found wanting, the law should catch up with you. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Okay.
Good, but unfortunately, you are talking about pastors being, being probed and all of that, and their finances being monitored and all of that. This law that is going to be put in place is going to be put in place by which people? Is it not the same politicians we have who are leading us that from time often, they have failed woefully? Okay, what laws are they also going to put in place that will checkmate them? That when they themselves, the politicians, I'm talking of the big guns now, also are found wanting in these areas, that the laws will also catch up with them. So this thing is not about pastor. It's not about a church. It's not about an individual. It's about we Nigerians going back to what is called human capital development and character development.
I see.
Okay. I want to give some suggestions.
Okay.
Number one, we need to know the database of the people we call Nigerians in Nigeria, and as well those living abroad. We need to have a database. Now, look at this ATM card of a thing, for example. Very easy for you to get an ATM card from a bank. Why can't the government, the federal government and the state governments, sublet a contract to banks to produce, documents and maybe a national ID card that can circulate and go around in a space of 3 months.
I'm trying to see how that applies to this particular problem of money
now,
laundering.
What I'm trying to say is that, you see, when you know people, see, the thing is that in Nigeria, we don't even know people amongst us. We just live, we call ourselves Nigerians, we're in the country. Okay. We don't even know people who are in our midst. Okay. Somebody can claim to be a pastor. Are you getting what I'm saying? Uh-huh. But the database will be able to prove that this one is a pastor or this one is not a pastor, this one is a fraudster. Okay. We don't have a database here. It is until somebody is caught on the very act of committing a crime. That's when we can now say, okay, this person is guilty or is not guilty.
I have to also correct something you said earlier on about who this law applies to and who it doesn't. This law actually applies to all. It applies to all organizations, including churches. The problem is some people want churches to be excluded from this law. That's where the wahala started.
No, the issue is that as human beings, as Christians, we should not be afraid of scrutiny.
All right.
We should not be afraid of it. It's only a man who has a questionable character that will be afraid of scrutiny.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for calling us. We've got messages on social media. If scammers use pastors, they can also use media, government, and any other platform, etc. Well, like I said, this law is for every organization, but, it's only the religious organizations that kicked against it. We've got Apostle Spread. Okay. Apostle Spread Leader on the line. Okay. Apostle Spread Leader, thanks for calling. Good evening.
Thank you. God bless you.
Bless you as well.
I just want to contribute to the last and first caller said.
All right, go ahead.
Crime is crime.
Okay.
The government is very free to fight crime anywhere it is.
Okay.
But when we come to karma, it's a very sensitive issue because it goes contrary to the law. You see, talking about church generally and government regulating church generally, it's unscriptural.
But government is not regulating church.
Let me tell you where they are wrong.
Okay.
The Bible in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, even Jesus in Matthew chapter 18, from verse 16 to 18, has in every way make us to understand how issues pertaining to the church should be resolved.
But the Bible also told the church to be submit to the laws of the land. That's number one. You also have Jesus, who himself paid tax. Remember, he told his fishermen his disciples to get a fish, and from the mouth of the fish, he used that money to pay tax. And more importantly than all of that, the government isn't even bound by the Bible.
Hello. It's like what you are saying. I'll come back to the scriptures. When some in the days of Boko Haram, early days of Boko Haram, when some criminals kept weapons in the mosque, the government will certainly just come out and say, now let's subject the mosque, all the mosques in the country, to all security scrutiny. It is not done. The SSS located where those arms were, and they went for it, arrested those who were involved. That is that crime is fought everywhere in the world.
Do you think that government should have done that? Should government have scrutinized every mosque in the country as a result of that security breach?
See, if you want to start making laws against scriptural provisions or religious
but Nigeria is not a scriptural state. It's not a religious state. It's a secular state.
That is when whatever is in that religion is contrary to the ways of life or the freedom of the people. But as it relates to karma, see, for instance, the Bible only permits that only Christians should preside, should resolve, settle issues.
Okay.
If the government wants to use Christians.
How about the part where this particular provision of karma says that your church members are the ones who will ask government to come in? So if your church members don't ask government to come in, you have nothing to worry about. So also giving room for the Christian doctrine that only Christians should settle Christian matters?
Yes, exactly what the point I was driving at. I'm not registered with CAC.
Okay.
Neither am I a member of CAN.
Okay.
I'm just somebody who reads the scriptures. I'm very spiritual about the scripture. So when the government wants to interfere or wants to be part of church issues,
government doesn't want to interfere. They don't want to interfere. They are not calling for scrutiny of churches. They only will come in when church members report their church. That's when government will step in.
But they are asking the Christians to commit sin. The Bible does not allow Christians to report to unbelievers. The CAC registrar in Lagos is a Muslim. The registrar, the general in the country is a Muslim. How can you not ask a Muslim to go and be removing a church registrar? That is probably against First Corinthians chapter 6.
But we don't. Number one, we don't even know the religion of the people who the government will set up as temporary oversight group. That's number one. Number two, why is it a problem if a Muslim is the one who will come and oversee the affairs of the church that its members reported to government?
Can't the government, can't there be a Christian?
And they're not overseeing the church, or they're overseeing the finances. It's only the money they're overseeing. They're not overseeing how you run things as a church.
Let the government work with members of the Christians. They are Christians in government. Let them work with Christians.
So if they work with Christians in government, then they can come and oversee the monies?
Exactly. It's like a Christian going to report to a fellow Christian.
Okay,
there will not be a sin against that Christian.
Okay.
Because if they go the way they are going now, they are making Christians to commit sin.
Wow.
So if they can set up a committee or meet with CAC, whoever should be responsible for such acts should all be Christians. Then if a Christian goes to meet with them and complain, as it is commanded for every Christian to do in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and Matthew chapter 18.
Is this doctrine in the Bible? This thing that you're talking about, is it in the Bible?
Everybody listening to me now can go and read 1 Corinthians chapter 6 from verse 1 to 9. Matthew chapter 18 from verse 15 to 18. And you can also read Israel chapter 7. How the government in power has to ensure that the church then was totally allowed to be free from government regulation.
Okay.
In Israel chapter 7. So I have quoted 1 Corinthians chapter 6.
So to be clear,
Matthew chapter 18 from verse 15 to 18.
So to be
and
clear,
Israel chapter 7.
Apostle Spread Leader, to be clear,
Yes.
So government oversight is okay as long as it's a Christian that is coming to look at the finances of the church, right?
As long as Christians are involved.
Okay. All
as
right.
long as it is purely Christian, I have no problem. And again, crime is crime. I can't support crime. I'm a holy man of God.
All right, Apostle. Thank you so much. So Apostle doesn't have a problem with oversight as long as it's Christians who are overseeing. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. On today's Big Hard Fact, we're talking yet again about CAMA. We're talking about that particular provision of CAMA that allows the government to step in and oversee the finances of the church when an accusation about financial abuse has been made. The Vanguard conducted an investigative report about how Yahoo Boys operate in Warri, and they managed to get access directly to the fraudsters. And the fraudsters broke down for the Vanguard the way that they launder their money. And one of the things they said they do was to put their money in the accounts of pastors. They identify rich pastors and they use their accounts when they're expecting some good money. And they said the reason they do that is that security people will hardly suspect money that enters pastor's account. Now, on WhatsApp, we've got a lot of thoughts. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. So share your thoughts with me via WhatsApp. WhatsApp 080-959-75805. And yes, you can also call the live show 0700-993-993. We've got John in Ajah who says that this government, this radio station is God sent to Nigerians. It's gradually demystifying the ignorance and fear that has held Nigerians hostage for decades. Keep up the good work. Only time will tell. All right. Thank you for sending your message in. We appreciate it. Hello, President Sandra. I think an agency should be set up for total scrutiny in any religious organization that is accused of fraud by its members. Lekon Adeboye says. Lekon, thanks for sending your message in. If the government wants religious organizations to pay tax, let them come straight and adjust the constitution. But that's the thing. They don't want religious institutions to pay tax. No one has said anything about taxing religious organizations. One day I heard one of my neighbors talking about it very authoritatively, and I just wanted to run out of my house and go and say, "Oh, guy, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop misleading your people." Government doesn't want to do that. They don't want to tax religious organizations. They say they want to have oversight and the right to temporarily, it's important to remember the temporary part, temporarily replace the trustees of charity organizations in the event of fraud. In the event of fraud, they want to be temporarily trustees of charity organizations. That's it. So they're not taxing the church. That's it. A message here says the approach of saying Princess Banner Hill for the organization. Anybody can post at that level. Oche says, so there has to be do members have ID cards now? I don't understand, Oche, but thanks for sending that message in. We've got another message here. Okay, no, that person is sending a message to Wazubia FM. Government is looking for a way to corner some of the church funds because they believe some of the churches have too much. But that's literally what is not. That is literally a lie. That is quite literally false. But okay, thank you so much for sending your message in. We're going to take a quick come back and we'll continue this conversation. Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria. So I am Sandra Ezekwesili. Don't go away.
More talk, news and sports to this. A place where you can win without limits. A place where you get a 100% bonus to stake. A place where virtual is brought to reality. Even more. A place where you can bet online anytime, even while you're out of data. Register on actionbet.ng. ActionBet. Think bold. Take action. Win big.
You're out to leave for work, but your driver...
Hello? Oga, you don't go believe what he do me, oh.
That time, he runs a red light.
Oga, no worry. Road safety, no day.
This time, beats over a bump. Okay, he be like say they just put that one. Why risk losing your car when you can just drive? Same way you can port to Airtel, keep your number. Make that switch today. All calls at 11 kobo per second. On every recharge and double data months on the network with the widest 4G coverage.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Has the style, reflect me life, leave faces. Your home, make a class and style and not furniture. Will make you happy. Furniture, classic ish furniture. The office, your house is calling you. Furniture, yeah. Better furniture. Live a life of elegance. Furniture.
Visit Vento Furniture Room today at Ikeja City Mall, Lake or Jabi Lake Mall, Jabi, Abuja. www.ventofurniture.com. Say home. Say Vento Furniture.
Back, and there are more ways to bet king. With Mega All, the widest market selections ever, you can increase your winnings and accumulate 225%. Don't have to gain the com. Sign now and claim a 100,000 naira. Stay safe. Playground for kings.
Brings you the very best football action with matches any given week from the best of the Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, Retornigalo, Salah, Guerrero, Pogba, Griezmann, Mesaldo. Get a HD dish and 1 month compact subscription for only 18,600 naira. We have the world's best football only on DSTV.
Hard Facts with Sandra Ezekwesili.
Hey Lagos, let's get back into it. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Info, and we're asking on the show today: should government have oversight over religious organizations' finances? The reason I'm asking that question is because the Vanguard did a special report, and they published it on the 30th of September. The headline reads, We use pastors' bank accounts to beat security. Not Sandra's words. It's a publication from the Vanguard. They conducted an investigative report into how Yahoo boys operate in Warri. And what they found was that they often put the money that they get into the accounts of pastors to avoid security. Because it's one thing to get a lot of money, right? It's one thing to get like massive money, but it's another thing entirely to move that money around. So at the point you want to move the money, that's when police often comes to knock on your door and say, can you please explain how you have, such a huge amount of money? And then you start to explain yourself. And so this conversation, this particular news story, this event is why I'm taking another look at that provision of the Corporate and Allied Matters Act that gives the government the right to temporarily replace the trustees of charity organizations in the event of fraud. The amendment is talking about that. The government wants the right to step in when a church's leadership is accused of financial crimes by its members. And in that situation, government wants to be able to remove the church's trustees temporarily, not permanently. Remove them, bring in independent administrators to look at the finances of the church or the religious body, or the NGO, or the charity organization. To look at the finances. They're not going to run the religious body, just look at the finances. Now, Apostle Spread Leader called in and he says, I don't mind as long as they're Christians. How about you? 0700-993-993-993. Hello.
President Sandra.
Good to have you on the show. What's your name?
My name is Ms. Wires, calling from Amuodofi.
Welcome.
Okay, number one. The pastor involved, they should face him out and take him to the court of law. That was another case. But when you talk of this karma, they did not just mention mosques or churches. They say alien law. Only out of them, I don't know how many of them, maybe 1, 4, 5, 6, they mention religion body. When they say religion body, yes, the Muslim will not come in, the Christian will not come in. And the two religions we are talking about, no, out of the two holy books, no one condone corruption. What are we talking about? As I'm talking to you, I humble self in the mosque I worship. I happen to be the chairman of the working committee running the mosque activities.
Okay.
Whether money, anything involve money, I had to. My ceiling must be there before anybody can take cover. So if I'm involved in corruption, I bring somebody from SR to come and investigate me. I must answer up. Let them do thorough investigation. And when you say this Kaman, the chairman, it can be Christian, it can be Muslim. But if you are working in that organization as the chairman of that Kama, is he only one person working in that organization? He can actually send 3 or 4 people to go and investigate the budget of that mosque, the budget of that church. What are we talking about? So for me, this system, if the government stand on their feet and implement it, for me, I'm in support of it.
Okay.
A true religion leader is not afraid of probe. If you are so clean, you are not corrupt, you are the one to fight against corruption. Because corruption fight must start from the mosque, it must start from the churches. If we want Nigeria to be stable today, the two religious bodies have a lot of work to do. So people go and steal government money. You take it to the mosque for blessing. What are you talking about? You steal money. God says not steal. I will steal the money. I will still go and take it to God's house to go and do what? So for me, I'm at home with the when you now talk of religion in this country today, Some people just start up as if, okay, now, if the board of trustees, they can be 7, they can be 9. If one of them commit a fraud, they can suspend that fellow. Or, if we do, as it is now, Sandra, if I want to, what did they do this? I forgot. I want to remember this. If they want to, your file, those can you remind me? Organization where you want to do, just off my head.
Yeah.
When you find people to come and do your audit, when you want to audit, can you want the farm that want to audit it for you? You want to ask them, who are you? Are you Christian? Are you Muslim? Come and do the job for me. Let them do the job for you. So if anybody come around to investigate my account in my mosque and I'm found guilty, let them try me. If I'm not found guilty, they return me back to the post. And they say one thing that's very, very, very cogent. They say it's a member that will complain before any external body can come in. Oh, Sandra, let us wash ourselves and clean our house.
All right. Thank you, Prince YS. We've got somebody who says the problem of this country is lack of rule of law. Nobody should be immune to scrutiny, even pastor or any other person. But because of no rule of law, that's why government is opening unnecessary agencies for their party supporters in the name of fighting corruption. What happened to the bullion van during the last election? We've got another message here. Good evening, Sandra. This is Emmanuel from Ketu. The federal government can set up a body to monitor the church's financial activities, but only if Christians are all members of the body. But if otherwise, it is not allowed for me. Another person here says, Sandra, hold on, let me see that message. How can you temporarily replace trustees or oversee church finances when they are immersed with fraud? Don't they have rules or disciplinary measures to resolve such issues? Government shouldn't control any religious body finances. Friday from Ikorodu says. Let's talk to Charles in Ikorodu. Hello, Charles.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for calling.
Yes. I want to contribute to this topic.
Yes, of course. That's why you called. Go ahead.
Yes. My question is, how much does the government contribute to churches or to religious bodies?
What has that got to do with anything?
What is their business with regulating church? The banks that they took over, what came out of it? Those banks that they said that were fraudulent, what came out of it? So what is their business with church? Is that the problem of Nigeria? What's their business?
If as a church,
if they want to venture, look, you said Nigeria is a secular. Listen. How many judgments? How many Sharia court judgments in the north have they overturned?
Okay.
How many Sharia court judgments? So what is their business with religious bodies' money? Is that the problem of the country? If somebody is found culpable, is found, and then they bring that person to court, let justice take its course. What's government problem?
Why should, if we're following your arguments to its logical conclusion, why should we go to court in the first place?
That's what I'm saying. I say if for any reason somebody is taken to court, then let the court judge it now. But
why should the court judge it? Because is court not government? Is government not the court?
That is why I'm saying this is. If for any reason the members of the church so wishes, and then they decide to take a pastor or whatever to court, then let the law take its course, but not for government to intervene. Say they are coming to investigate. So the question is the government that are coming to investigate.
But court is government. The police will investigate is government too now.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. What I'm saying is, what right does the government have to come and take over. They say they are temporarily. What
right do they have? The right,
yes,
the right inferred upon them by this act, and it only goes into effect
which
if
act? Why should they promulgate such act?
Kama.
Act?
And it only goes. It only
Is that
goes.
The problem of Nigeria.
Nigeria has more than one problem. Should we only face one problem at a time?
Why should they be venturing into areas that is not their business?
They have, why? It's only.
Boys are terrorizing people. Area boys are terrorizing people. They have not said they're going to take over the streets and then and get the area boys out of the streets. They're talking about is that the problem of Nigeria?
Charles, they've only said they will do this if your church members say come and do it.
Who is church member?
If your church members don't come and
pretend to be a church member,
how do you know that the person is pretending? Wow! So now I have to have ID card as a church member. Hello, Charles.
Feigns to be a church member and then come out with such allegations.
Okay, what do you think about the part where? What do you think, Charles?
Whistleblowers. Okay. A whistleblower. If anybody can be a whistleblower.
What do you think about the part where a fraudster? Sorry about that, Charles. What do you think? Because that's a question I was going to ask Charles, right? What does he think about the part where you have a fraudster hiding money with a pastor? Should government not look into that? Is that not the business of government? The finances of church members. Yes, what the church is doing may not be the business of government, but the finances of church members is the responsibility of government once there is fraud. If there is fraud, it becomes the business of government. Courto is government. Police is government. So what are we saying here? 99.3. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? What's your name?
Oh, Sandra. My name is Sam.
Sam, good to have you on the show. Welcome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Why do we create problem where there is no problem?
Okay.
Why don't we just allow church alone to start doing their affairs? There is no problem in the church. This karma you are talking about has been there for a very long time. As at 1991, I was doing using this same karma, and these provisions were there. But the federal government decided to add certain things to it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that those ones are what the churches are challenging. How do you now come and take over the running of a church?
No, they don't take over the running of a church.
Yes.
They take over the trustees.
Yes. What is the trustees?
To take a look.
So this is not the owners. So what I'm saying is that if you look at government, it's like somebody who have an elephant, carry an elephant. Then when he see a rat running around, he's looking for me to, he is pursuing the rat.
But you know that trustees don't control the operations of the church, right?
Trustees are who said?
They don't control the operations of the church.
Trustees are the owners of the church.
No, trustees are not owners. They oversee the books. They oversee the books to ensure that non-profit rules are not violated.
Yes, it's like you are saying that. Yeah, then if that is the case, then you have to come and put Muslim to be
they've not even told you the religion of who they are putting. They've not specified the religion of who they are putting.
How many religions do we have?
Okay, so what if they put a babalawo? Is that okay?
We have babalawo.
If they put babalawo, is that okay?
Yes. Let them go and first of all control the babalawos. In the first place, those ones are not even registered. So
are churches registered?
Yes, they are.
Churches are all the churches are registered?
Not all.
How do you know that not all the babalawos are registered? How do you know that some babalawos are not registered?
Those that are registered, I'm Babalawo in this case, are talking of religion. So somebody who will do some go as a religion now, are they registered?
How do you know that they are not registered? Are you a Songo aficionado?
No, but they should go and send the people to control them. Well, they can't even go into their shrine.
But they are all part of organizations. They are all part of non-profit organizations that are, if they have a board of trustees.
Sandra,
if they have a board of trustee, and somebody that is a member of that shrine reports, I bet you government will take a look.
See, I'm not even saying government should not take a look.
Mm-hmm.
We understand.
Mm-hmm.
The way they are coming in is the wrong thing. I've told you that it has been there all along.
So let me ask you something, sir. Let me ask you something. If a fraudster dupes you and takes your money and hides it with the pastor, are you saying government should not look into it?
Go after the pastor. Yes. You are not. It doesn't have anything to do with the trustees.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with trustees. So you go after the pastor, arrest him, sentence him.
What if they put it in church's account and the pastor is aware and the trustees are aware?
Go after if the trustees are aware. You are going into something that is very deep. Very, very deep. You understand? Because this one, before the trustees are aware and they set up a church to run down, as the way you are going, as if you are the real one that is interested in this matter. You want it to come, so you want it to take place. You, Sandra, whether you go to church or not.
What if the trustees are aware?
If the churches are
trustees are aware, what if they are?
I've already told you who interpret where there is a problem between executive and the people. Executive and the law. Is it not the court?
Is the court not government?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the court not government?
The court belongs to all of us, not government.
No, the court is government. There are three branches of government.
Yes, branches of the government. You have the legislative. You have it is the executive that is causing this problem. It is not the executive that is causing the problem.
But they all work together as branches of government. So if you're okay, if you are okay with courts, why are you not okay with a temporary trustee looking over the finances?
Do you shave my head at my absence?
It's not in your absence, though. It's a member of the church that will report to the church.
No, hold on. I don't understand what I'm saying. Where the government got it wrong, like of many other legislations now that they are bringing up, like this water bill they are bringing. They didn't call the people who are involved, so that they deliberated. I did be deliberated before they pass this. All these arguments will not come up. You are shaving my head in my absence.
I see. Okay.
I'm supposed to be there so that I will tell you this one. No, I don't like it. This one I like it. Then all of us will agree. You now from
there were actually public hearings.
Which public?
There were public hearings. No, this camera has been in the works for a while, and there were public hearings after, and there were public hearings about the amendments. So is it their fault? Is it their fault that
you know so many of these things? Even that this law that they wanted to bring, which they went a copy from one country in Asia, until when Nigerians said it must pass through this thing. Now they have kept that one aside. They will just copy what is happening in that place. How will they work in Nigeria?
But if we're even speaking of what's happening in that place, some of these churches are obeying this same law in other countries. Why not in Nigeria?
Why not? I never say you should obey law. You understand? Let us all sit down with the law before you enact it. Not enacting it.
In other parts of the country, some of the people that even become temporary trustees don't even believe in God. They're atheists.
Yes. Yes.
So why don't we have a problem when they're doing it in places like the UK and the US and Canada? Why do we have a problem when it's Nigeria?
Who are we? I'm not in Canada. I'm not in UK. You understand? Like in UK now, like what is happening in another place. A man can marry man, but we don't want it in Nigeria. In another place, people walk naked. We don't want it here.
So you also don't want government to look at whether the church is using church money well.
What I'm trying to no, I've told you that anybody who commit offense should pass through the law court.
Okay. All right. Let's end it there. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. We've got somebody who says, Sandra, good job, Jare. This is Chika. It's absurd how mostly fellow Christians vehemently oppose karma when the same law exists in the UK, etc., where these mega churches pride themselves to have branches and strictly, invariably abide by these same laws without castigating the government. It's sad to see that we want a great Nigeria where corporate governance are only on paper. Surely it is not the established churches, but personal Pentecostal incorporated churches that are afraid of karma. Tony from Ojo says, what if the fraudster that reports or puts funds in the church's account is not a member of the church, so the government cannot investigate? We've got Luga Exclusive, who says that the world will be imbalanced when crime is not punished. What are you talking about, Luga? Oh, that's a wrong message I was reading. Sorry about that. He says, God is the government. Any church that receives huge sum of money from an individual and never asks their occupation should be scrutinized. Any church account that a Yahoo boy is using to receive money, government has every right to shut down and take over that account. The world will be imbalanced when crime is not punished. Somebody says, Sandra, has the government been able to control its own finance? They should leave the religious finances alone and face more important needs of the masses. But this is an important need of the masses, isn't it? As a Christian, as a member who goes to a church, I want to make sure that the finances in my church are used well. I don't want the finances in my church to be embezzled or misused. And if government has said that I can now report and they can now do something about it when I do report, what's the problem with that? Are we saying that we want church funds to be misused, or if that they are misused, we should look the other way because government is filled with corrupt politicians? I'm trying to understand. Because this is not the first time that we've heard stories of pastors or churches getting involved either in money laundering or in hiding money illegally. And it happens all over the world. It's not just in Nigeria. It happens all over the world. Do you know Evander Holyfield? Evander Holyfield. He used to be a heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He's the one that Mike Tyson bit on the ear. When Holyfield was going through a divorce, he allegedly tried to hide his money from his wife, and so he gave large amounts of money to his pastor to hide for him, pretending it was donations like tithes and offerings. But apparently the wife realized that Holyfield was doing this, and she went to court. The court ordered the pastor to reveal the financial statements, and the pastor refused. He was charged with contempt of court. It went all the way to the state Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Court forced the pastor to publish. And that's how they found the hidden money. That's in America. That's a Pentecostal church in America. And I'm sure Catholics are laughing, but not so fast. If you're Catholic, you're laughing. Don't be fast about that. Right now, the Financial Times in the UK is covering a huge scandal involving the Vatican. Funds that were donated to the Vatican for charity were diverted by a particular cardinal a few years ago and used to bet on financial markets. Betting. The authorities in Europe are investigating it. Apparently, some of the proceeds were used to buy expensive houses in London. So again, if we know one thing, we know that any organization can become a scene of fraud. Any profession can have fraudsters and criminals among them. So why do we want to treat religious leaders, religious organizations differently? We want to catch Yahoo boys. Good. We want to catch money launderers. Good. Shouldn't we also catch the people helping them to hide their money? Should it matter who these people are? Should religious organizations be sacred cows when it comes to fighting corruption and fraud and money laundering? Has government looked at themselves or finished catching themselves? Is that really a good enough argument? Really? Emmanuel is in Ikorodu. I hope he's still on the line. Hello. Is he still there? No, he's not. Sorry about that, Emmanuel. If you can, call back. 99.3. Hello.
Yeah, good evening. My name is John.
John, you're my last caller on the show. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to ask, can this law be abused? I mean, it's a fantastic law. I've heard all you have to say, but I just want to ask you, do you think this law can be abused? Do you think if a pastor or a church has an issue with the government, the church can wake up, the pastor, the government in Nigeria. Now, so we're talking to specific, not in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, because I mean, I think there's a lot of challenges with a lot of Western. When I mean Western, like I mean Southwestern intellectuals. Sorry, but I just ask: do you think the law can be abused in the Nigerian context?
Okay, let me ask you as well.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Let me ask in answering that question. In answering that question, let me ask you something. Huh?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Let me say something. Any law can be abused.
No, yeah.
Hold on.
In the Nigerian context.
Yes, in the Nigerian context. In the Nigerian context, any law can be abused. Does that mean that we should dismantle every law?
Definitely no. Definitely no. But so let's do a bit of. I mean, everything is subject to abuse. But let's do a bit of a bit of IS good or IS bad. So, which one do you think offers more good? That I mean, it's good that we fight corruption, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the mosque, whether anywhere it is. But which one do you think the law is tending towards to? Is it tending towards to make sure that criticisms don't come from that angle, or extend towards to kill corruption? Because in any case, if you are going to kill corruption, I mean, it's not better to kill corruption on a larger scale. In any case, as what your callers are saying, there's a bigger political corruption. So I'm not saying the church corruption should be overlooked, but if your interest is in corruption, then you fight it where it is the biggest.
This law isn't stopping us from fighting corruption.
No, it's not. But
so why are we talking like we have to choose one? It's either we do this or we do the other.
The reality is you can't fight multiple battles at once.
You actually can.
You can't.
You actually can.
You cannot.
Sandra, yes, you can.
Sandra.
Yes, we can.
This is Obama. Sandra, you cannot. Okay, Sandra, let me ask you another question.
I'm out of time, unfortunately, so you can't keep asking me questions. I need to give somebody a chance to win 10,000 naira on the show today. So if you like that lucky person to be you, please give me a call, 0700-993-993-993. Answer at least 4 questions correctly. Answer them as quickly as possible in 1 minute and win. Hello.
Hello.
Are you calling me for just a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then. What's your name?
Abdul Samad.
Say that again?
Abdul Samad.
Abdul Samad. All right. When you win, stay on the line so somebody can collect your details, okay?
Okay.
All right, then. How many candidates are still in the race for WTO Director General?
5.
Which Nigerian is contesting to be the WTO leader?
Okonje.
Name 2 celebrities who marched today to end SARS.
Fouls, Runtime, Omoyele Shure.
Which senator moved a motion raising concern about SARS?
I don't know.
Which reps member moved a motion to scrap SARS?
I don't know.
In what part of Lagos did an explosion occur this morning?
Barua.
In what type of business did the explosion occur?
Gas pipeline.
When benchmark crude oil price, what benchmark crude oil price did President Buhari use for his 2021?
$40 per barrel.
According to the Vanguard, fraudsters in Warri work with who to hide their stolen money?
Ma, please come again. I can't hear.
According to the Vanguard, fraudsters in Warri work with who to hide their stolen money?
Pastors.
Congratulations, you're our winner today. Stay on the line so that you get your 10,000 naira. And Lagos, thank you for joining us on the show today. We're back doing this again tomorrow. So be here when we bring you international stories. 3 to 4, that's what we do, international stories. Then 4 to 6, you have Public Square with Agogo Obo. I'm Ezekwesili on social media. So let's talk online, shall we? Ezekwesili on social media. Until tomorrow, those were your hard facts, Lagos. Good night.
You are listening to your number 1 station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Only DSTV brings you the very best football action. With more than 20 live matches any given week from the best leagues in the world, the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A,